So tell us who you are, what you do and how old you are.
Yeah, my name is Ewan Briscoe. I'm 53 and I practice the art of Taekwondo. I run a martial arts school called Taekwondo, which has been running since 1987.
What age did you start?
I started martial arts at the age of 11 and I moved to Taekwondo pretty quickly. My original instructor came from Korea in Taekwondo, and he asked my dad if I was allowed to do it. You know, he basically said, "Can you do it?" My dad said, "Yeah," but he's also done judo and boxing and given those up, and it's quite expensive. So my dad's pretty old-fashioned. He said to him, "Well, if he misses a class, you beat him. If he turns up, he doesn't do it, beat him again." So I kind of, when I first started it, because my dad paid for a year, he just said, "Look, you're going to stay in this." So when I first started, it was hard work, because you know, when you have to do something, it's hard work. Yeah. But after a while, I grew to love it. You know, yeah. And it's been like that ever since. You know, I'd say the tournament side of Taekwondo is very demanding, and there's times when, you know, I felt, you know, I can't do this no more. But you know, I ended up continuing. I became 9 times British champion and European champion, and I retired after that, and I've sort of helped quite a few of my students become the same, because I've experienced it myself. Sometimes I felt like giving up, but I've said to them, you know, we've spoken about this before, a black belt is a white belt that never gives up. I don't know if you managed to see it at the children's class earlier on, I know he's watching. We kind of instill that same attitude in them as well.
Yes.
You know, never give up.
Yeah. I noticed that in your class you have some more senior kids who are helping teach. Yeah, we're trying to encourage, what we got is, I think, what we call a leadership program, and that's where we encourage the leaders of the future. And I've noticed, I get a lot of good reports from school teachers, how generally speaking, you'd think because they learn martial arts, they might be the bullies. They're not. Yeah. They're the opposite. They're the ones who are more like the sheriffs of the school. So they'll stop a fight and control it, and a lot of them end up being like senior positions like prefects and so on. Do you still train a lot yourself?
Oh yeah, I train quite regularly, and I have to also go to my instructor and train at his bequest, as it happens, you know. But I train myself really regularly.
What sort of things does your training involve?
Well, in the mornings, my first thing I have to go through my patterns. That's the forms. That's like that's like almost like the equivalent of shadow boxing. Yeah. And it's like set movements against an imaginary opponent. After that, you know, I do my press-ups, my sit-ups, and a little bit of jogging. That's really important. And then in the classes, you know, I'm training, you know, like almost every day of the week, somewhere. You know, so I always try and keep that going, you know.
So is it something that you feel doing it helps you just in your day-to-day life?
Yes, for definite. You get to judge a situation better through martial arts. I think there's a theory, and this might be a bad analogy, but I say it's better to have a weapon and not need it than to need one and not have it. I think sometimes a lot of fights start because people are trying to prove something to each other. So I think it helps me in that sense. It gives you a sense of calmness and patience, and you can think things through, because if you know your ability, you don't really need to test your ability.
How old can people carry on doing it?
We was at a tournament the other day, and there was a gentleman who was 78 years of age. Yeah. And he was doing the patterns tournament, the set movements. Yeah. And he done it just as well as someone 20 years of age. The older you get, the more knowledgeable you get about it, and the more sharper you can get in your techniques, and the more you've got economy of motion, as it were. Yeah. You know, so I think you can go to any age.
And you sort of enjoy it as much as you ever did?
Yeah, I've never not. I mean, some instructors that I've known from the past, they say they get burnt out. But for me, just when I come in and see the faces of the children, for example, and even the adults, but the children are very encouraging when you come there and you see them, and for example, they walk in there and say, "Sir, do you think I'll ever be a champion like you?" And I say, "Yes, you will." 5 years later, they are. And so that keeps me going, and keeps me wanting to train and, you know, keep up with it. And I don't think I'd ever stop.